everyone, and I'm very happy to have another amazing guest, Dr. Ved Prakash Prasad, for this podcast show. And it will be really great if Ved does his brilliant introduction for us. So, yeah, Ved, come on, give us an introduction.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ved, and by profession, I'm a scientist, but I transitioned into becoming an entrepreneur. But currently, I'm a full time parent and full time entrepreneur by choice, so that we can make this world a better place to live in and at the same time have a peace of mind and have some kind of I would say positive global impact in our life and other people's lives also. Yeah. So that's about my brief introduction. But of course, I can go into entire Ram Kahani, but I would like to go there, so we can move forward. Yeah.
Ved, thank you so much for accepting the invitation. I'm so glad to have you. I think I had a lot of people telling me that why don't you have Ved as a guest? And it'll be really nice to hear a story where a person moved from academia to entrepreneurship and also moved from US to India. And not because he did not have options, but it was because made of choice. Uh, I really appreciate your journey, and we are here to listen more about you. Ved, tell us, how was your upbringing? How was your childhood? And where are your roots?
Okay. So I'm. The best part is that as I'm giving this interview, I'm actually sitting in my home where I was born and raised. So my father is a bike mechanic. My mom is a first woman in her society to finish her undergrad degree. So coming from that background, there was a very heavy emphasis on education: go to a good school, get a good degree, get a good job. You only have two options: either become engineer or doctor. You try anything else, you're called nalayak or useless. So coming from that background, I didn't want to study much because I was having much more fun in the backyard and playing with my own things. In fact, in my school, my brother was outstanding student in the class. I was standing out of the class most of the times. And after 10th grade, I was done with school. In fact, I was planning to open electrical shop, just like my father has a bike shop. And I was planning to have a chill life in Ranchi itself and then do my own thing. But of course, fate happened, and then I saw a girl whom I wanted to impress in the 11th grade. So I started studying for that purpose. And I was too shy to speak with her, so I didn't get a chance to speak with her. But I became a better student because of that, and eventually, because of thanks to sometimes we need external motivation like that to get started. I became a better student and eventually got into NICER Bhubaneswar as first batch of that place, and then that is where my scientific journey actually began. But yeah, so that's about my background. Yeah.
So, I would like to ask you, Ved, did you go to NICER because it was a fancy organization, or was it like a default choice and you got it? Or was it because of science?
So it's a mixed feeling because on one side, of course, it's good institute because it's under Department of Atomic Energy, and we were the first batch. So of course, there was a lot of question that is it even worth it to go there because there's no director, no building, no facility, faculty, nothing is there. Uh, Parents were also questioning that, but given the credibility of the Department of Atomic Energy, we chose to make that decision. And further, they were offering full scholarship. So, coming from a middle class background, that itself is a very big boost for somebody to pursue that kind of education. Of course, a lot of pressure from the family was there. Hey, your elder brother is IIT, and why are you not? So even when I joined ISL, I was still preparing for IIT. But after 1 year, I said, okay, why am I like trying to be part of the crowd? Why can't I create my own brand and my own life? Why not live to my own values, what I really believe in? So that is how I started becoming more serious about science, and then didn't focus too much upon engineering. And one fine day, my brother said that I'm proud of you for actually pursuing science because had you joined IIT, you would not have become who you are today. So I'm glad that I chose my own path in that direction.
So, Ved, when you're talking about this, I've seen a lot of siblings, and the elder siblings are extremely marvelous. They have illustrious career, and they're like real A achievers in our society. And the younger child's is his life is completely camouflaged and lives under the shadow of that elder brother.
Hmm.
Or you're constantly told, oh, your brother is an IITian. Oh, you have to do this. Was it a society giving pressure to you, or did you have that internal pressure? And if you had that pressure also, how did you internalize it? Or
Well,
did you
I
have the
would.
constant pressure to perform?
Yep, there was a constant pressure to perform. Like Sharma ji ka beta, neighboring kids, how are they performing? They are doing so good, you are not doing well, and all of those questions were there. It would irritate me a little bit. Like even in 11th and 12th grade, they were pushing me that okay, like I chose first of all bio. Then I said okay, I should also take math. I took both bio and math. Now only 10% population or 5% population does that, and including brother, many other people were saying that you are putting feet on two boats, you will sink. But thanks to the crush that I had, I was able to perform really well in both sides, and that actually became a blessing because when I joined NICER, I had to study everything. On the other hand, my friends who studied only bio or only math, they were struggling. So in that way, a lot of times, good things we cannot see it right away, but eventually it shows up. And same way with regards to the academic pressure or the parental pressure or different kinds of peer pressure. My brother is the good guy. I am the spoiled kid. That kind of image was always created. But with time, you start valuing your own self, like what you are up to, what you are believing in, and what is your interest. If you give your best, really, really best, and with dedication and a lot of grit, eventually, a lot of good things happen, right? So, yeah, even the power couldn't handle this conversation here. Yeah, all right.
Ved, if you don't mind, I would like to say that Ranchi is a tier two city, right? Like I'm also from a tier two city in
Yeah.
India. And in a tier two city, if anyone in the remotest of our also village goes to IIT, it's a big thing. I mean, for anybody outside India, we cannot tell what IIT means to an Indian child because we don't go there through like our father. Like you can go to these Ivy Leagues in US for an undergrad with money, but IIT is pure examination and hardcore grilling which is there. So if anybody cracks, even in the village, remote village, somebody cracks IIT, he is like, he's literally a celebrated figure, he's a celebrity. So I guess
Correct.
your brother also enjoyed that celebrity status.
Yeah.
But did
Yeah.
you ever
Yeah.
feel insecure, or you feel jealous, or you feel like, oh, he's setting the standard way too high for me? This is a big thing. Did you feel
Yeah.
that?
Until first year of my undergrad. But after that,
Oh,
I was talking to one of my uncles, like the same electrical shop where I was planning to start my own electrical shop. My favorite time pass would be to go and sit there and then have some nice time with those old people who are retired, and they will give me all the gyan. So one fine day, I was saying that I'm working hard. I will qualify IIT and do my own thing. He said that uh, think of it like this: you are trying to jump over a fence. You don't even know what is on the other side of the fence. Just for your sake of ego, if you want to jump, that doesn't make sense. So I would. So he encouraged me to think realistically and see what I really wanted in my life. And eventually, because of that, I started listening to my own self, and that's what resulted in a lot of changes.
Veda, let's talk about your nicer part. So it was a new organization. The curriculum wasn't fixed. There was no structure. How did you cope up yourself, or how did you build yourself in those 5 years of undergrad?
Mm. So thankfully, there was no structure, so we could do literally anything. So, in fact, like we were the guinea pigs. All the courses were tested on us. Faculty were doing their own thing. We were doing our own thing. In fact, like we had a lot of fun learning and growing. But during the summer vacation, when other people took vacation, I stayed back to do. Like even at my home in Ranchi, I had my own tiny laboratory in my own room. Same way, I established a tiny laboratory in my undergrad college. You can see that picture on my Facebook. Uh, and then I would build things. I would be sitting at my father's shop for 14 years for every day 1 hour at least. So I learned a few jugaadu things here and there. So I said, okay, can we build a few things locally here at a lower cost? Because like coming from a middle class background, we want to hack everything, right? So same thing I was trying there, and I built a few devices like instruments like centrifuge, thermostat, and things like that from junkyard parts. Now, it was a good learning experience. Of course, the institute was not facilitating that a lot because we were a brand new institute, but that taught me how to be an entrepreneur, how to struggle, how to pitch an idea in front of faculty, how to make sure that to go through that politics and drama of the people. But so that kind of learning happened in my first few years of undergrad. And also, they gave me an opportunity to basically be in the student leadership positions, thanks to all the relationships that I had built over time. And my best friends would not be like the hotshot kids or cool kids of the class. My best friends will be usually security guards or the cleaning people, because those are the people I would actually relate more to. And as a result of that, with time, I became the first cultural secretary of NICER and second president of NICER, of the student union. And then that helped me to groom myself, not just in academics. And with regards to academics, also, I never actually studied for exams properly. At max, I would write down a few formulae before the exam and write the exams. But my major focus was upon basically learning and growing and implementing whatever I have learned from the books to basically understand the concepts at the basic level. And as a result of that, I could understand the basics and the project side, a lot of physical or practical aspects, and lastly and most importantly, the student activities, the leadership part. So all of that put together groomed me all around, and of course, a lot of girlfriends and all of those side hustles we did. so, so yeah, so we had a lot of fun, a lot of learning, and lots of failures, lots of fights with the, I would say, the administration, because I was the president. So on one side, the students will cry about their problem, administration will cry about their problem. So that is how I was shaped, like in a, I would say, that just like a diamond, right? Diamond is heated under pressure and pressurized, and that is how it brings out the best in them. Right? So something similar happened to me.
Sorry, Ved, I had to disconnect for some time, some
Yeah.
issues.
Okay.
Ved, I would like to know that how was now this jump from nicer to whether you wanted to do PhD or you wanted to try into other things?
Hmm.
Were you or did you try out these things or how it was?
Okay. So, because we were the first batch, so we didn't have any options. All the faculty are PhDs, so we also become PhDs. So, in fact, out of 39 students, I think 37 went for PhD. Okay. So, that was the only option. Now, I didn't have a passport, so I couldn't apply for PhDs outside. But so I applied for all the net and gate and everything like that. And all the learning that I had from my previous experiences in the past few years, I was able to qualify for those exams, not an issue. And then I got into different institutes like TIFR, NCBS, IIT Bombay, IIT Madras. Uh, but and all the different places except NCBS, I had fixed projects which I could work on. It was very very clear because like IIT Madras, I had done internships, so the professor was already opening the doors really big for me. Uh, but at NCBS, I have no clear idea. Now I was delaying, thinking, and that is when Apurva Sareen from NCBS emailed me like, "Are you making any decisions?" I said, "I'm confused. Where should I go?" So she said that like, "Okay, you should talk to K. Vijay Raghavan. He might be giving you a good thought process here." So I said, "Okay." I had a phone conversation with him for 20 minutes, and he positively brainwashed me, and I landed up at NCBS. All the other places I left because primarily the NCBS because of the environment, the equality. among the people. People call each other by first name, and they're very open culture. That's the main thing that attracted me. I didn't know what I was going to do at NCBS, but I just started flowing with the energy of the people. And of course, Yamuna had already given a talk at NCBS or at NICER when I was at NICER in third year. So I had been always in touch with her to get an idea about what to do next. So until then, I had been just following what is my interest and what I'm good at.
I would like to add that NCBS also gives you a lot of exposure, which most of the other institutes don't give. For instance, when I went to NCBS, I had no idea what is science communication or science art or science illustration. These are some things I've seen. There are PhDs from different part of India who go to these from IITs and they're postdocs. They also don't know, and I'm very grateful that since I was in NCBS for some amount of time, so you get to explore a lot of people, and there are also a lot of variety of people constantly come the grand NCBS like annual meet where you meet a lot of people, and that's when we start to talk. And also I would like to add the thing which you said, equality. That's the first time I felt like, dude, I'm equal to a PI, to a director, because we with this whole hierarchy business can really, like, you always feel that it's so feudalistic. So I agree to you, it makes. So you joined NCBS, and tell me how you landed with Yamuna. You,
So, with regards to that, before even joining any of my PhD position, I actually spoke with at least 50 faculty and 100 plus PhD students on why are they interested about what they are doing. In fact, I came to NCBS and I
did
sat with,
networking back early.
yeah, yeah.
You started networking back early.
Yeah. So, because if this question I better ask before I take a step, I better ask why should I take a direction where there's a big hole in long term, right? So, in fact, I'm very thankful to S. Ramaswamy for Rams for inviting me to his lab meet. Uh, and then I sat with him in the lab, and then I was trying to work on synthetic biology, but at that time he said that India is too far behind in this field, so you better find something different. Because I wanted to basically whatever I had been doing in terms of engineering at the machine level, I was thinking of doing at the bacteria level or something like that. Because Yamuna again painted that picture for me. So she suggested me to try out different lab rotations, like at Jayan Dudgaokar's lab in protein engineering. On the other side, with Sandhya Kaushik, I had to understand the biology side of life because I'm a hardcore physical chemist by training. So she wanted me to experience that side. And then finally, when it came to choosing a lab, I couldn't join Sandhya's lab because Sandhya was moving to a different institute like TF Mumbai. So there was a competition. Which lab should I join? Jayan Dudgaonkar lab, where everything is all set, all stable. You join the lab, 5 years, five publications, nice postdoc, have a chill life. Or you join a volcanic lab where there's a high chance that you'll be kicked out even before you finish your PhD. High amount of energy, lot of enthusiasm, high risk, and you might publish in Nature Nanotech kind of papers, and then have a like a party kind of life. So I said, I was thinking, talking to lots of people again. 90% people again said, don't do it. But third said, go for it, man. So I chose Yamuna Lab and then got into there, and a lot of challenges were there, a lot of crying moments and things like that were there, but it was totally worth it. Yeah.
So with Yamuna, though you hear two stories of Yamuna. First thing, that she is so successful. Her science is so amazing. Like, she is doing the most cool science. And the other thing is that the lab has very high turnover. Turnover, like people dropping out, is very high.
Mm.
It's a
Mm.
tough lab to survive. Um, I think you must have also got to hear these all things. Were you scared? Did you think that these are red flags and this can be toxic and I should not join the lab?
Well, what I have learned is people who are outside, they don't know the environment inside. They only have opinions. But people who are inside the lab, they will be the true people to give me thought process. So I talked to people like Dheeraj Bhatia and many other people, seniors, like what do they like in the lab, what do they hate in the lab, what is it they can handle, what they cannot handle. And most of the times it was for people who quit. The common trend was they couldn't handle the harsh language and the harsh treatment. And the people who stayed back, what they liked was the energy and the uh, direction in which the lab was going, the vision. So for me, harsh language and all those mistreatments doesn't bother me much because I had gotten enough of that during my PhD, like a presidentship at my undergrad college, because the administrative people were mistreating me a lot of times. So yeah, I have handled that
Wait,
enough.
I I would like to introduce you. Do you mean that when people talk to you harsh, do you not take it personally, or is it that you just don't care? What is it?
Both.
Okay, but didn't you think that my mental health might be difficult, or I might have a burnout? Very scared of that.
There will be some question and doubt every time anything you do, no matter what. Like even before making this call, I was eating pani puri. Now there was a fear that I'm going to have a lot of hiccups while doing the meeting, but I took the risk because I was eating pani puri with my wife. So it's okay. Sometimes it's okay to take risks, and actually the biggest risk in life is not to take risk. Had I not joined Yamuna's lab, I would not be where I am today, for sure.
Okay. And the other thing, when you move from a NICER, which is a more student centric institute, which is more student based, to a completely different setup like NCBS, and we also understand NCBS is a very, like a very, I would like to use the word, a very westernized culture. A culture, a setup, the way people talk is a little bit sophisticated. And it cannot be a fit for a lot of people. Did you feel that you were a misfit, or did you feel uncomfortable anytime?
Would say I was excited to see the other side.
Okay.
I had seen enough of this side, Desi side. I wanted to see
Mhm.
the Videshi side.
Or you never felt like, because I have seen those conferences that, or in even in class or courses, people are there who will drop extremely big mind numbing terms, and you will be like, "Oh, I'm so dumb." I mean, through 1 year or for a long time of most of the talk, I could only focus for the first 20 minutes or 10 minutes. After that, I
Yeah.
would not understand. And every time I did not understand, I was being so hard on myself. I was like, dude, I don't know anything. I also have a CSIR and all these
Hmm.
fancy things. Why did I know? So I was
Hmm.
constantly putting pressure on myself.
Hmm.
Did it happen to you?
Well, if the pressure like that comes, then instead of sitting and crying, of course, a little bit of crying happens for everybody. But after that, what do we do? Do we keep crying
Go
about it,
and read.
or actually go back and then find ways to get answers to those questions and ask those people more and more? Right? Like, what did you learn? Where did you learn it from? What all things can I do? Because if we are fixed minded, we'll keep crying about things. But if we are growth minded, we can always find an answer. Because those people also began someday like us. If they can do it, why can't we?
But I also think, wait, it takes a lot to go up and say, from where did you start this? It takes a lot from the other end, like from us also, to go and say, okay, what does it mean? Do you know this? Or how did you reach here? Or how did you get into this training? And a
Yeah.
lot of people are not very warm.
Hmm. Hmm.
A lot of people can be like, you don't know this. I have also seen that kind of people.
Yeah.
And then they humiliate you. So that's not very easy. What you're saying is just go and say, ask people, because in a lab setup or a research institute setup, there's a lot of pressure. Everybody goes through a personal pressure. So sometimes they redirect the pressure in the wrong direction. That is not
Correct.
meant for you, but they can just be extremely nasty.
Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
don't know, you might have a very bad lab meeting with the boss right on 20 minutes back, and just the person couldn't say, and he will just give you a snark or be rude.
Hmm.
unnecessary, and you'll be like, I don't even deserve that. So I don't think that it's always right, or you cannot always go and ask people because you don't know where and what they are. And that atmosphere itself is a very competitive and a difficult atmosphere.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about your project in Yamuna's lab.
So I will address this question first that you talked about just now, that it is not easy. All right. And it's true that not everybody is going to answer. In fact, they will humiliate you many times. At NICER, we were humiliated hundreds and hundreds of times. So we were already kind of used to that. Because the moment there is a little bit of scarcity in any kind of a field, people will put you down. And we had seen that enough. So NCBS was far more peaceful. So uh, in that way, it was much better. Second thing is, you don't have to ask everybody, and you don't need to know everything. Yeah, somebody can be talking all big things about neuroscience. Why do I need to know all of that? I need to be best in my project and my idea that I'm working on. Yamuna always used to say that in your project, you should be the world renowned expert. Nobody should know more than you. If somebody else knows more than you, then you better get started in reading more and learning more, right? Because it's your specialization, your field. On that line, with regards to life at NCBS, the Yamuna had already seen me build a lot of instruments, so she hired me as a microscopy specialist. She was grooming me to become one. And in fact, she told me to read about microscopy and teach her and give her assignments also. So that is where a lot of microscopy learning happened. And then I said, okay, we can import a few technologies from outside. For example, a special kind of microscopy which nobody had done in our lab. I had to learn from outside, from NCBS, from other universities, institutes. I had to go out and talk to people at conferences, workshops, did everything in my power to learn from those people. And because I did that, I was able to learn how to basically leverage other people's expertise rather than me knowing everything. Okay, and that's a very, very important characteristic behavior, which actually showed up, which came very handy and helpful when I was about to wrap up my PhD. Because when I was about to finish my PhD, I was supposed to finish about one fourth of my PhD work in 3 months. Uh, and I was able to wrap it up because I learned how to, like, for example, my programmer, I didn't know how to do programming in Python. My brother became my programmer. I didn't know how to run computer programs on supercomputer. So the IT guys became my support system there. I didn't know how to do cell culture. So my lab mates came handy there. So it's all about teamwork. It's not about you figuring out everything by yourself. That's what I learned, and that's what I have been implementing. And people became jealous because of that. It's okay. It's their problem, not my problem. It's their life. So I will continue to pave my path and figure it out because ultimately we only have one life to live. So why keep uh, thinking about what other people are thinking? I let them think what they want to think. Why should I do the thinking for them? Yeah.
Tell us more about your like your journey again from NCBS. We all know Yamuna shifted to U Chicago, University of Chicago. How was the journey? Like, how did you manage taking entire thing, shifting all the instruments and everything in lab, setting up lab? And I think it was also your first trip maybe to US and settling there, rent and like social security. How was it all?
Again, exciting adventure because it was my first flight in my life, by the way. I had never taken a flight. So uh, Yamuna had asked me simply like, "Do you want to stay back in India or do you want to come with us to US?" I said, "I'm always up for new adventures, so take me wherever you want to go. I don't care." And it took about 6 months of transition period to set up the new lab. In fact, at NICER, because we were the first batch, so again there also I had to set up a lab. So those experiences came again very useful. And when we were settling in US, we had to re-establish all the collaborations, all the instruments, everything from scratch. So it was a lot of hiccups, ups and downs, a lot of learning experiences, lots of screaming at each other, like where the heck is the sample? How did it get lost? So Yamuna would give us all sorts of blessings in the morning of that kind. But overall, after 6 months, we were able to establish the lab. Usually, labs will take about 1 year to do so, but we were able to do it in 6 months. And once we moved to US, of course, the wings were on us. So we were flying here and there. We were going out and meeting people, pubs, and universities on the lake. So all the happy hours, everything was happening. But I would say 2 months I was there like that and having lots of fun. And that is when one of my seniors saw the potential in me and said that you're very creative, but you have more. If you really want to make the best out of your life in US, especially, you might like to try out entrepreneurship because USA is not called land of jobs; it is called land of opportunity for a reason, right? So I will be happy to talk more about that in the coming minutes. Yeah.
So this mentor was the person who just spilled in your head about the entrepreneurship. I would like to know, how did this journey and how did this change? Initially, I think it's all about the change in your head, because when you do a PhD in such Yamuna Krishnan's lab, and you know that you're getting a Nature Nanotech paper and you're working like almost like 18 hours, 12 hours, you don't dream of a life other than academia.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
to change your mindset from that linear fashion, that okay, I'm going to do something nobody else done and this is something interesting. How did you first do that training, and what were the first important questions that you asked yourself?
Actually happened on November 8th, 2014. It was my birthday, and my senior, one of my seniors, the same guy who saw the potential in me, he took me to a seminar where the speaker was actually uh, like a illiterate guy from Jamaica, like a third world country, and audience was filled with about 1,000 people, and that included people like myself and my other PhD friends. So it was a fun thing to see that there is a guy who is illiterate and there are PhD sitting and listening to him. So it didn't make sense to me. Like, how the heck is this happening? But as I listened to that guy, I could see the value in the mindset, the way he was speaking, the way where he was living his life. He was going towards something significant to make this world a better place to live in, which I didn't see in the academia. I was seeing that yes, people have so-called well-settled life, a lot of name in the society, and maybe some impact, but the actual impact at the ground level was missing. Um, we have so many papers, paper after paper, nature nanotech after nature nanotech, patents after patents. But how many of them actually become a reality? How many actually touch people's lives? We all technology is going to impact people's life after 20 years, but we have never seen that happen. And yeah, people might get a little hurt by this statement, but reality is this, because the ownership of the patent actually is taken over by the university or the companies, right? And we become more like a cogwheel in the entire system. I didn't want to become like that. And then also the peace of mind was missing. I looked at my seniors, 10 years, 20 years ahead of me. Yamuna is a good example, and many other people in different industries, like my brother IITian. All of these guys are top people, but they have good name in the society, good salaries, but peace of mind is missing. It is more like pieces of mind. Like the home is a little shaky. For example, as everybody knows, Yamuna had a divorce. So I'm not saying that she doesn't know how to build relationships. It just means that there was some kind of value mismatch within the family. On the other hand, my brother, he works 10 to 12 hours every day for Amazon, makes a lot of money, but no time. Like a few months ago, they had their first baby, but they couldn't even, like, they were working full time all through the ninth month of pregnancy. And even during the maternity leave, if people still work, that doesn't make sense to me. So these kinds of things, on one side was the pull of the purpose, and other side was the push of the pain. both of them they were there, and that's what made me to start thinking that, hey, yeah, entrepreneurship is a great idea. In fact, our lab moved from India to US for two purposes: to find more collaborations and to start a company. uh, we did start a company, but again the same challenges of a conventional business happened. That is when my senior saw the potential in me and said that if you want to think differently about your life, then you might like to start with the end goal in mind, just like how you travel. You start with a destination and then you reverse engineer by asking people who have done that, not just pick any random vehicle and then think that it is going to produce the outcome that you want. Because so far in my career choices, I had been making it that way, that I was doing what I was interested in or what sounded cool. We can do really, really good in that area. For example, if I go and sit in the train, I can get the best ticket. But it doesn't make sense to get the best ticket. Before that, I need to figure out where I want to go and why do I want to even go there. It's something which is never taught in the schools, unfortunately, because we are trained to become an employee. We are trained to work for somebody else because the teachers themselves are working for somebody else. Right? So all of those thinkings made me to think that, okay, I need to open my eyes and then start looking differently.
I would like to tell you here, Ved. I think so, the definition of success is extremely subjective. For what your definition of success is, for Yamuna may be getting those huge papers, being Bhatnagar awardee, youngest Bhatnagar awardee, Infosys, might have been her priority
Correct.
and not her personal life.
Yeah.
So I think judging her, and I've not heard you, I've heard a lot. I'm sorry to say, a lot of man talking about her personal life, and especially because she's a woman and she's forceful. So I think she's very easily targeted, and I feel very bad as a fellow woman because
Correct.
people think that the way to pull her down is by masquerading her personal life. But I would like to say that it just did not work. I mean, it's okay that it does not work. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean she's a failure, because failure and success is just a matter of perspective.
Absolutely.
From which angle you would see. For a
Yep.
person who is right now a professor in California, he will tell you you are a failure.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. According to Elon Musk, a person who's a postdoc at 35 and getting Nature paper is a failure because he's not earning a
Correct.
lot of money.
Yep.
So how do
Absolutely.
you define success is absolutely subjective. And I think,
Absolutely right.
and it is also pretty personal choice. So I
Correct.
really appreciate the fact that you made that decision that you wanted a personal choice. What was your personal choice and what you wanted to choose out of a life? Now, I would like to ask you, Ved, when you were going through this journey of, I think this mental workout or thinking that what I want out of my PhD, you met a lot of mentors. Like in LinkedIn, I always hear you telling about I have amazing mentors. You should have mentors. I would like to ask, how do you get a mentor, or how do you tap into a network of something called mentors?
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so that's $1 million question. So I will do my best to answer that in the brief time that I have today. Uh, First thing is, which I will go back to this question of the success first, and then we'll go to that one. Because what we are told from the childhood days is go to a good school, get a good degree, get a good job. That is the definition of success that is given to us. But we are never asked, what do you really want in your life, right? And
I
then we
agree
are,
to you 100%
yeah,
on that. That
yeah,
we were
and
not
then,
told that
yeah,
we are
good,
not told that being happy is basically successful, and that can be doing a farming in some place. We are
absolutely,
told that money is successful, and we are also told that our destination is successful, not the journey. So we are always running from one space to another and not enjoying the process.
correct. And I will mention about that. Why is that situation happening? Okay, so when I was under that turmoil of like, what direction should I choose? What sounds good? What doesn't sound good? What doesn't feel good? My senior, the same guy, he asked me a simple question, a profound one, that if you have $100 million in your bank account and 5 years to live, what will you do differently which you cannot do today? Until then, I had been telling everybody that, hey, I will become a scientist and a professor, and I will have a lot of papers and patents, and some fine day I'll become a professor at Bark and become a like a television star like that, and then have a chill sarkari babu life. But when I was asked this question, it took me about 2 months to figure out the answer because nobody had ever asked me that question. Finally, after a lot of thinking, I came to a conclusion. I actually don't need a PhD because I can hire the same expertise for the money that I have, the $100 million. Second thing, I would like to spend more time with my family because I have missed enough with my parents. For example, I have a 6 month old baby, so the kid can either learn from you or YouTube, you decide, uh, or maybe create some kind of a positive impact because enough of these ideas we had, they never became a reality because of lack of resources, lack of platforms, or the mentors, as you mentioned, and things like that, right? So I wanted to create a system for that, where people can plug into those systems, irrespective of their socioeconomic background, and make their ideas a reality, like Gates Foundation. So if you see, uh, that simple question basically flipped my life upside down. Until then, I had been speaking what my parents had told me to say, and at that day, I started saying what I wanted to say. And how did I come up with these goals? Again, world is like this thing, shopping mall. You don't know what you want until you start looking at things. And some find, hey, that looks good for me. I also want that. And then it continuously keep evolving. Today, you are looking for just basic clothing because you don't have any clothes. But as you grow bigger and stronger, then you will be going for Armani and all of those different brands, and all sorts of things. And then the one fine day is heck with it. I will wear leaves, okay. And then different kinds of things people do. So it's a choice that we all have. Now, when I was saying these good goals to my senior, he said that ask yourself honestly, how many of your friends, family, teachers, professor, etc., are living these outcomes that you're talking about? Said, honestly, nobody. So he said that now you know why you're so confused about success, because nobody else is living that outcome that you want. So they're just guiding whatever they think is success for you, right? So he suggested me to create my own voice, create my own thinking, and then find people who have produced those outputs and find a way to work in partnership with them or earn some kind of a way by which you can they have a reason to teach you. It's just like learning how to fly aeroplane or like doing PhD also. You don't come up with your own idea and try in your backyard. No, you go to a good college or a good flying school, work with established people on their ideas or their systems first, and as you learn and experience, then you can have your own thing, right? So same thing about mentorship also, that you we need to earn relationship after relationship. We may not be able to directly reach Bill Gates or Elon Musk kind of people, if we really want to become or live life like that. We will start small with whoever we can, and then basically find a way to work with them on some existing idea, and then eventually keep bugging them, hey, can I work with you on some new idea? And then they will have a reason to teach you because of the relationship. And then just like after PhD, you earn a postdoc level at a higher order university, right? So same way here in entrepreneurship world also, you jump from entrepreneur to entrepreneur, right? And that is how you continue to gain access to inner circles of higher quality people. Currently, my mentors are millionaires. They run business in 50 plus countries, and they have been retired from their jobs for 18 years now. They retired at the job from the job at the age of 32 and 29, spent full time with their family, created a positive global impact by educating thousands of people like me and providing the same business platform that they have access to. So to earn access to them, I had to go through, I think, 5 to 6 layers of entrepreneurs. And before we moved to India, we had a private dinner with them. So that was a very nice experience. And they said that they see a potential in us, that you guys are making very, very unique decisions of moving to India and doing these kinds of things to build the business, not just to do some random bhajan kirtan in some Himalayas, right? So that's what they saw, and that's why they have created a special WhatsApp or Telegram group between us where we have a private chat with them in case we need anything. So it's basically with time you earn relationship with people. That's the most important part.
So, Ved, if I use two words to define you from my this conversation, my first word will be jugaadu, from the bike mechanic shop to right now.
Yeah.
And second thing is a guy who is bubbly, who is extrovert. I might agree that in 11, 12, you might have been shy, but eyes are open doors for you. And I think so, these two have really helped you to do that. Your communication skills and you being jugaadu, like you're willing to go that extra mile to do that. So I would like to know, so you were also doing PhD and you had started your first company, right? I think so. You started your first company, if I'm not mistaken. So when did you, how difficult was it launching a company in US or
Hmm.
doing everything and also maintaining a full-time PhD program? How did you manage your time?
Yeah. Okay. So, which I will correct a few statements here with regards to me being extrovert and bubbly. My wife is like that, by the way. Okay. In all my relationships I had, most of the cases I never approached the girl. They approached me. All right, because I was too shy to speak
That
with people.
means you were on demand,
Yeah, because
let's
I
say.
was. I don't know about that, but I was always doing my own thing. I was happy sitting in the corner and building my devices and talking to computers, not talking to people. So that is my way of life. But today, whatever you see as my communication skills is a result of being around people who are great leaders. And it's a myth in the marketplace that in order to be a good leader, you need to be a very bubbly person, extroverted person. In fact, the most successful leaders, most of them are introverts actually, or weird people. But what matters the most is the charisma that we talk about. It comes not from our communication skills, but what direction are we working towards, number one, and how much do we include other people into our vision. And that is why they get attracted to us because they see a benefit in being around us.
Yeah. Otherwise, why would they be around you, right? Like
Absolutely.
they see there's also a charisma or the charismatic personality and the way you talk, the talk you like I see it in you also. You speak it with a lot of conviction. You believe it yourself, so you're speaking with conviction. And third thing is you're willing to give something more, so people are willing to stay with you.
Absolutely right. Yep. And
That's really true.
yeah, and in fact,
And
yeah, and but we are all self-centered people. Just the radius is different for different people.
so
Everybody wants to be praised. Everybody has a ego, but some people have bigger circle that okay, 10 people they will think about. We think about much bigger audience. Yeah,
okay, wait. So how did you start the first company? Like we
yeah,
were talking.
yeah. So on that line, like my first company actually I launched when I was in my undergrad first year. To be honest, the jugaadu centrifuge that I was building, of course, it was a terrible failure eventually because I didn't have a business experience. When I was talking to my this senior, he said that just like you started PhD, why don't you work on established ideas first with established people? So that way, I don't have to come up with my own idea, my own funding, and my own headache of how to deal with all of these things. And second thing is in US especially, there is a very strong visa restriction that you cannot start something of your own just like that until unless you are a green card holder or a citizen. Second thing is you cannot work on something random outside of your job. But the senior whom I was talking to, he himself had already gone through all of those things. So I could simply ask him what to do, what not to do. The only question that I had with him, is it legal for me to build a company in US? He said, yes, I am doing that. I said, okay, tell me more. Tell me more. How can I do it? And that's how I began my business. And just for a few $100s, I could get started on what kind of business, not nanotechnology. It's too expensive to start a company there. But I worked on simple online businesses like Amazon. Why? Because it works. The main reason I started that business was not because of that amazing idea or amazing technology or what outcome it produces. but it gave me an opportunity to hang around with these successful people, so-called successful, in my opinion, right? Because they were already living the outcomes that I wanted: freedom, family time, travel, and impact. So these were the outcomes that I wanted to produce. They had already done that big time. It doesn't matter whether they do it through nanotechnology or macro technology. Who cares, right? If they have produced those outputs, I find a way to work with them. And eventually, through time, as I spent more and more time with them, meanwhile, I had a few more amazing ideas of mine which had terrible failures. Then I learned that it's not just about coming up with a great idea. In fact, it's a myth in the marketplace that we need to come up with a great idea. Some of the top companies, like for example HP, their first idea was a rice cooker. IBM made meat slicing machine and weighing scales. Samsung was not into electronics until 1968. Thomas Alva Edison never invented the electric bulb. So it's a big myth in the marketplace. So these kinds of myths were busted for me, and then I learned that it's not about me. It's not about me being a star player. It's not about my high ego of me being the nanotechnology guy from the University of Chicago with Nature Nanotech publications. It's more about finding the stars in other people, helping to bring out the best in them. Just like in a good cricket team, like MS Dhoni's team, he would never come out as an opening batsman or bowler. He will bring out the best in other people, and as a result, even though he's not there, the team will still perform. That's the definition of a good leader, and that's what I saw in my mentors, and that's why their businesses is on autopilot from past 25 years almost in 50 plus countries. So okay, if they have done it, so it must be right. So I just followed their path, continue to ask them about different kinds of things, and as a result of that, over time I learned what to do, what not to do, and I'm still learning. I'm not there yet. Give me a few more years and I'll be in a millionaire club and many more.
You're talking about how you had this kind of what to say nirvana thought, and immediately the light came and it was gave you a halo expression behind you.
Yeah, yeah. The electricity board is with me on today on this interview.
Yeah, they gave you like मेरे को nirvana. I had received nirvana from my mentors.
No, no. They were showing that before meeting my mentors, my life was in darkness, and I was trying to use my own jugaad. But with power of mentorship, there's a lot of light in life.
Uh, so after you had an amazing PhD with all these papers, you defended. Why did you move to a postdoc, or did you move to a company, or did you move to a full time in entrepreneurship?
So with regards to that, I have been always in touch with my seniors and my mentors again, because they had already taken the path. So they gave me, like, they never told me what to do. They just gave me the thought process of a person's life who is working toward those outcomes. And looking at my seniors in postdoc, I said, I don't want to do that no matter what. I can easily get a postdoc in all the top labs, but is it even worth it? What will it produce for me? Right? Uh, First thing. So after PhD, I didn't apply for any postdoc. Now, with regards to jobs, I was trying in industry side. My seniors and my mentors always mentioned that always, always, always keep a job while building the company. Once your business is established, only then quit your job. Okay. So that it's a smooth transition. Just like staying in a rented apartment. You stay in a rented apartment until your home is built. You don't just start in the wild just like that. Right? It's dumb. So that's what they suggested to me. So I found a job. Now, with regards to job seeking, again, my mentors had already taught me the networking skills, people skills, and leadership skills. So whatever was taught me there in the business, I implemented in my job search. And with regards to that, they taught me how to write down goals, specific goals. For example, what I really, really want. I said, I want a low engagement job in Dallas by March 10th of 2018. Why these statements? Specifically Dallas, because my mentors live there. I can get more face-to-face time with them. I was still in Chicago that time. Second, why March 10th? Because that is the date by which I have to find a job, or else I'll be back to India. Then why low engagement? So that I can actually focus upon my bigger vision and dream. rather than working for somebody else's dream. Okay, so these three things I did. I kept on looking for a job. It was the month of December and November when everything is shut down because of the winter. Eventually, I found a job, and I started my job on March 9th, one day before the deadline. Had I not found the
Well,
job, I would be back to India much earlier.
you were just lucky.
Yeah, yeah.
No, there's
Luck is
nothing
called.
called luck.
Yeah, the luck
Yeah,
definition is
there's
called
nothing called luck.
labor. Yeah, yeah. Labor under correct knowledge. Lots of
Yeah,
labor.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of hard work and all.
Yeah,
I would like to ask you this thing. Like you were talking about, you had a vision board or you wrote it down. I think so. This is something I hear a lot about. It's called manifestation. I think so.
correct.
Do you think that it is helpful and it worked with you, or do you follow it?
Yeah. So I will talk about that vision board. The I created that in about 2015, and on that vision board I wrote that by December of 2017 I will wrap up my PhD. I finished my PhD 2 days before December of 2017. It was a result of me looking at it every day on one side. On the other side, I wanted to retire 3 years from yes today, like 3 years ago, but it didn't happen right away. It happened now. It's okay. I wanted to come to India in 2057. I came in 2022. I was planning to come with a different girl. The girl changed, and I have a different person in my life, but a better suited one. In fact, after my previous breakup, I made a list of the characteristic behaviors that I want in my wife, about 50 of those behaviors. And then I became the
I will
complementary.
from another level.
Yeah, and I
You went to
became,
the first date and with like, let's check what's there, what's there.
yeah, yeah, like I
You
said, like what?
seriously did that?
Yeah, yeah, I can show you the document if you want. Okay.
No, no, no. Thank you. God save me.
Yes. So on that document, I had written she should be optimistic, she should be jugaadu, she should be health conscious, she should be humble, appreciative, smart, hungry, all those entrepreneurial behaviors, whatever I wanted, 50 plus of those. And then I became the complementary version of that because if I am not the right person, how can I attract the person and keep in my life? I became that. I did made that list in month of February of 2021. uh, Pandemic happened 2020, right? 2020, Feb of 2020, I made that list. And April of 20th, my girlfriend showed up on Tinder. And she reached out to me and then started talking. And then that is how we got engaged and married. And today we moved to India thanks to her because she said that I want to move to India. I said, okay, internet is my visa. I can be literally anywhere. And we moved to India in 2052 instead of 2057.
Congratulations. That was like in a roller coaster. 2 years getting married, getting hooked, getting married, and then again having baby too.
Yeah, yeah,
Fast.
yeah, yeah. Because
I would like to.
because of the vision board,
I'll
right?
ask.
In the vision board, like I shared my vision board with my girlfriend. She said, "I like you," because she was also having similar vision board. Okay,
Okay, okay.
so we didn't talk about like what is your favorite color, what is your hobby, and all of that. Those things were secondary. Our primary was what do we want out of our life. We shared our
I have a
vision board.
friend.
We shared our vision board. We shared our location. We shared all those things, and within a week we moved in together. Yeah.
So I had a friend in Loreto, and she used to tell me, you have to kiss a lot of rock, Shashwati, to get the final person. I think so. So I think that's a story with us.
Yep.
But
Yep.
also, I also agree that we mature with all our relationships. We
Correct.
exactly know what we don't know. And I don't think so. The person we were and our like 18 or 19, we don't want to be with the same person right now, also. So our choices evolve and we evolve with our relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Mitra was a person who's born and brought up in US, I guess. Or she's a US person. And you all got together, you all started your business. And I've also seen a wonderful post about you about how she wanted to do a natural kind of a birth delivery. And that was really brave and amazing of a girl. Now, I want to ask you, was she scared, a skeptic, knowing what is Ranchi, how is Ranchi or India, to come to India? or was it you thopifying your decision on her?
So I will let her. You can do a podcast with her. She will tell the truth there. Okay, but I can tell on my behalf at least that it was totally her decision. She saw that uh, our daughter Jodha can have a much like I would say family life in India. She always was deeply connected to Indian society. In fact, the reason why she became an entrepreneur at the age of 13 was because she traveled to India. Yeah, yeah. So that is the kind of people I hang around with. You're on mute, by the way. Yeah, yeah. So
13? Yeah.
yeah,
What was I doing?
13.
I was reading Harry Potter in 13.
Yeah, and I
People
was
become entrepreneur.
yeah, yeah, and I was playing in my backyard. So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So she
So,
saw the poor kids in South India and said that she can change the face of the society by educating kids, and she started teaching online
wow.
classes from US. And eventually, at the age of 17, and she officially launched the company. Age of 18, she had to leave home because of domestic violence, and then she did 4 part-time jobs, did her undergrad, plus ran her company to support herself. And
I can tell from this, you both match each other. Both of you are jugaadu.
yes, big time. So
You both are jugaadu.
yeah, so
And you
that's
both are survivors. You
yes.
people are very strong.
I
And I
won't
also
call.
have,
Yeah, I
I
won't
would
call.
like what Mitra, one thing is, I saw her post in social media. I find she is brilliantly positive. Like her life has very less impact. Like she's a very positive person. So that is really nice. And
Hmm,
she is young women, but she has a very progressive mind that makes her really attractive. I would
absolutely.
love to talk to her someday. That's so
Yep.
good.
Yep.
I
Yep.
even saw that how you all got gender neutral. I also like the fact that your wedding was extremely like minimalistic. You had your dog as your bridemaid. I mean, yeah.
Yep. There was a
And
lot of family drama and pandemic thanks to that. So we did an elopement wedding. Yeah.
okay,
and
okay,
my parents were skeptical about her, that why is things going so fast. Even my
yeah,
our
yeah.
mentors were also a little skeptical, like you guys are making decisions so fast. Where is the break? Break failure has happened. But they always believed in us, at least our mentors. Parents were a little question mark there, but eventually parents didn't have any choice but to believe in us. Eventually mentors were always on our side.
It takes a
And
lot of courage, and I would like to congratulate you.
yeah.
And also, I see this young couple, especially this is a special trend in India. I mean, they throw like some crores for some lavish 1 day wedding. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that? It just doesn't have any result. But again, it's subjective and people want to celebrate the day. But
Yeah.
I think so. I'm a little bit minimalistic, not
Yeah.
conjuice, but minimalistic. So
Mm.
I don't believe in that.
Mm.
But when I see some young generation going for a minimal wedding, I feel that that's setting a correct trend. It puts undue financial pressure on the sometimes the boy side, the women's side, or the parent side, and this is just a result and after effect of these flashy Bollywood weddings. I mean, I had a Bengali and a Nepali wedding. Like we are Bengalis, so I never knew that we had this mehendi and this sangeet. And I automatically nowadays I see this is done by Marwadis. I used to unlearn anew, and now I see all Bengali peoples having this because it's cool. So I
Mm.
think that okay, you are adopting it, good, but it should come not it should not make a pressure on your partner or anybody for that case.
In
And if
fact,
you are self-sustaining,
yeah,
it's still good.
yeah. In fact, my parents were also pressurizing a lot of things on these things. So I said
Hmm.
that, why are you so bothered about this wedding when what matters is the marriage,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
No,
That
what
what
matters is getting married and being happy.
correct,
You're
yeah.
being happy.
So correct.
Yeah.
So that what matters is the marriage of the person, and you're going to build actually a good relationship and then
Making it.
continuing to thrive, right?
Yeah,
So we are not just
yeah.
survivors, we thrivers actually, and that can
And you
only
know the
have.
hypocrisy? They have a flashy wedding, and the next day they're bitching about their mother-in-laws or they're talking about their other in-laws. What's the point? No,
Correct.
you have
Correct.
the main purpose of wedding is it should unite people. Like you should appreciate a new person. So yeah, I really liked
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. So, yeah, so these kinds of small decisions that are close to our values and principles, we always make. In fact, in my vision board, there are certain values. Like number one is we'll always live below our means, but constantly work towards raising our means, so that we don't have to get into credit card loans or bank loans or anything like that to even to launch a company or even to do these weddings or anything of that sort. Of course, there could be some emergency challenges like where we have to take a loan because there's no other option. But just to impress somebody, why should we live our life? It's our life. We only have one life to live. People who would keep living for other people's sake eventually have a midlife or quarter life crisis. But people who actually live by their own true values, they don't have to show or talk to anybody like that. And hence, uh, the authenticity or the truthfulness is what attracts other people, just like honeybees attracted to a nectar. Yeah.
Ved, I mean, let's see, let's accept that in India, the industry startup hub is basically Bangalore, Delhi, Pune, or maybe a little bit Chennai. But why did you came to a two-tier city? Were you skeptical?
Yeah. So with regards to that, our physical location doesn't matter. This is my
Okay,
office. Okay.
okay,
So,
okay. The digital space.
yep.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
So
how was this moving with one kid and you have two dog kids also? I think you're dog
yes,
parents. So
yes,
how was
yes.
it like getting everything?
Yeah, it was challenging, and thanks to Government of India, there was some paperwork issue also. At the airport, we went with 17 boxes, and then again we had to transfer it back. And
17?
yeah,
Oh.
my wife is a big hoarder, so we had all those things plus, of
I
course,
understand she grew up there, so she must have many memories to bring
of
back.
course, yeah.
I
So she wants to bring everything with her, and in America we don't have coolie services, so I was the coolie, and my our good friend Shivam and like other people, like our neighbors, were very helpful in that aspect. But there was a little bit of struggle, and there was days when 3 to 4 days we were without furniture. Our neighbors were cooking for us. We borrowed Wi-Fi of other people, so we were kind of homeless, but not homeless, for 2 days.
again jugaadu.
Yeah, like jugaad
Jugaad
everywhere.
went here.
Yeah, and today we are here.
And how are your dogs? Are they fine to be in India?
Yeah, yeah, they are enjoying their time, running around happily and barking at all the neighbors and everybody.
And your daughter, is she like fine? I mean, she's too kid. She's just like 6, 7 months,
Yeah, so
maybe.
she laughs and has a lot of fun with all the grandparents and the neighbors. Like in India, right? You know how the
Yes, social.
building is. You are the not just a kid of the home, but you are a kid of the building or the society itself.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so yeah,
And it's a
so
very beautiful feeling to grow in that. I would
correct.
really appreciate that
Yeah,
because
absolutely,
those crash and then coming back home to your parents and crash is not life. It's a very difficult life.
absolutely. Yep.
So, what is the goal now? What is now in your vision board? Talk, talk, talk.
So next goal is by 2030 to support at least 10 more families to accomplish similar goals so that we don't have to wait for evenings or weekends like this to meet each other and talk about bigger ideas and bigger picture and stop bitching about our neighbors and do something more productive than that. If you have any idea or worthwhile thing to work towards, then why don't you actually do something about it rather than just crying about what the government is not doing or what your professor is not doing? Take charge. We whatever value we have received from our mentors, we are just passing along it to people who are whom we feel are worth it. We have a selection process, of course, in place to make sure that we add value to the right set of people who can earn it, and then we continue to serve more and more people. Currently, we are operating in 4 countries: USA, India, Australia, and UAE. And of course, I'm nothing compared to my mentors. They are way ahead of us in the game. So we are,
You should not compare. You should
yeah,
not compare.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Comparison, as in like there's some standard that has been raised by them that okay, they have
But even if
accomplished
you
this.
don't, it's that way, that's perfectly fine, so long you
Absolutely
are happy with it. Yeah.
correct. because
don't put this barrier.
correct. No, I was just talking about like the four countries businesses is a result of learning from them, right? So we are still learning on how to expand it further, and as a result of that, by 2026 or so, I should be in a position where I don't have to beg for any money from any investor or anything like that. We are self-funded people, and we can work on other more cost intensive ideas like nanotechnology and things like that. Or for example, I hate traffic. I would like to have my own flying car. uh, or for
Okay.
example, this knowledge transfer is very slow, so can we upload our brain to computer and be done with this in 5 minutes, right?
Okay.
Or maybe
I know
maybe
a AI company who is trying to think in similar
yeah, yeah,
language.
yeah, yeah. So many things like that are coming up, and I don't even need to come up with all those ideas because people in my team are a lot more creative than me. So I'm more like a farmer. They are like the seed. I keep pouring water and energy into them, and eventually they produce amazing fruits and make feed more and more people.
I'll just ask you one thing. I know about the two companies, Genius Universals and NutriDrops. Genius Universal is more like an, if I've done my homework, it's a more of a mentorship, entrepreneurial mentorship
Hmm,
program.
hmm. Yeah,
And NutriDrops is a lifestyle health management program.
correct.
Is the NutriDrops, they're all VC funded, you have investors, or is it you all funding it?
So thanks to our mentors again, we learned how
Mhm.
to do it in a lean way. There is no external investment. We do it all by our own selves, and
So
we
what about your
create
capital, initial capitals?
not required.
Okay,
just
okay.
just for today's communication, we didn't develop the Google Meet platform.
Yeah, yeah.
We leverage the free platforms, right? So it's not required.
And I would also like to know, for NutriDrops, I understand if you're giving somebody a health chart or you're helping somebody make a lifestyle changes, you charge them. So that's
Correct.
probably your revenue model. But what is your Genius Universal's revenue model?
Sweat equity. So as people grow businesses with us, we can be external
Okay.
consultant to them, or if they don't have a business system, then we provide our own. And as they grow, then we grow together as in a mutually beneficial way. And that way, I don't have to charge them any money for our coaching and mentorship. Rather, we grow together, and if they fail, I also fail. So that means I have to
Wow,
teach
that is a
them.
very sustainable, it's a very, very sustainable thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. So this is something I've been recently seeing that a lot of these young PhD people, they once they're finishing the PhD, they're going to this institute. I want to know what's the magic institute. It's called Entrepreneur First. It's probably a
Mhm.
Bangalore-based university.
Mhm. Mhm.
They're getting this 6 7 month training. They're getting into the cohort. They're getting their own co-founders, and they're moving into startup. I would appreciate the fact that it takes a lot of courage that after 5 years of grueling PhD, which we have to agree that doctorate degree is grueling, to move to something which is difficult and there's high chance that it does not work. It takes a
Mhm.
lot of, like, I would see, and I've seen a lot of women who are doing it, and I've also seen men who are doing it. It's brilliant. But these coaching institutes are also probably helping to give people the entrepreneurship mindset or the entrepreneurship, like the backbone or knowledge training, whatever we call it.
Correct.
So wait, to all the people who are in hustling or they are thinking of even starting a startup company or thinking of a company, what are the few advices you would like to give them?
Yeah. I will wrap it up with this because I have a meeting in a few minutes.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. We
yeah,
are over time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So first thing is don't try to reinvent the wheel. Um, Actually, even before becoming a researcher, before we start doing research, we become a researcher by being around researchers. Correct. So same way, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you be around entrepreneurs first, learn from them in the field with them. MBA doesn't help because the professor who's teaching
Yeah,
businesses,
yeah. I would ask you this also. Do you need
yeah,
an MBA to become that? Can you do it without an MBA?
example is sitting in front
This-
of you. My mentors, none of them are MBAs.
Okay, okay. Thank you for saying that. MBAs are so damn expensive.
Yeah, because the person who's teaching us the MBA, most likely they have never built a company of their own. And even if they have, are they living the life that we want to live? Most likely no. So why would I bother? Right? So a lot of noise goes away as soon as we have these two parameters in mind. Are they living the life that we want to live? And do they lose anything if we lose? If those two parameters answer is no, I don't listen to them. Okay. So being said that, we choose wisely on whom we want to hang around with, because we become an average of those people. And once we have groomed ourselves into an entrepreneur, creative ideas come every day. And we don't need to always come up with an amazing, groundbreaking idea. It could be just a step above the current status quo, right? There's a nice book on this called So Good They Can't Ignore You, where the first line says, following your passion is a dangerous advice. Okay. And many, many beautiful things like that he says. And
So
he's,
इसी गड्ढे में हम गिरे थे.
yes, yes, yes. So the things like that he says, and then he mentions that you don't need to come up with a great idea. It's all evolutionary. Even the books like Good to Great, they also talk about the same thing. They have done many research on these big companies, and found out that uh, each of these people, they had somebody very well established who was kind of guiding them. uh, it's just like an alien technology coming on earth and helping you to grow, become stronger and bigger, right? So that's the main thing, that you find the right set of people, be around them, learn from them in the field, and eventually someday branch out. That's the main thing. Other things you'll figure out
Okay.
on the way.
Okay. So hanging around and networking with correct people are right.
Correct,
Uh,
yeah.
Wait, to wrap up, I would like to tell you, and I would like to tell all people that if you are looking for a job or looking to look at any job, be it industry or anywhere, I would firstly recommend you Ved's video. It's very well crafted about how to do job search. And thank you, Ved, for giving your time. And it was really nice. It's really good to
Okay.
see people who are go out of the way and they take challenge. And I wish you all the best for everything that's in your life, to your kid, to your partner, and your dog and your family. I wish you get everything that you aspire. And thank you so much. I am truly grateful to have you today in the show. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shashwati. It really means a lot, and you are doing an amazing job in terms of pulling out the best from us, and then sharing with other people. So keep up the good work, and do let us know if we can be of value in any form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Take care.
much. Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Hope you loved the episode. Subscribe to our show and see you next Saturday.